I'm sorry. Let's go.
Good afternoon. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, April 9th, 2025, 2 o'clock meeting. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
The usual. I see some new faces here, people who have not yet been here or appeared before the board. Is that accurate? Is there anyone here who has not appeared before this board before? Oh, okay. Then I can do away with my speech. Call the calendar, Patrick. Go ahead.
First, we have case 16925, Seaford, Brian Mew. Variances, side yards aggregate, maintained deck, and 2 AC units attached dwelling, also known as 2611 Neptune Avenue.
Mr. Mark.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mindel.
Gregory Mindel, 84 Bunker Hill Road, Salisbury, Connecticut, 06068. Appearing for the owner, Brian Mui, of 2611 Neptune Avenue, Seaford, New York. We're here this afternoon requesting permission to maintain a deck and 2 AC units having less than required side yard and aggregate side yard setbacks than required by ordinance. I believe the board is familiar with Neptune Avenue in Seaford. This is a flood zone. The deck is constructed maintaining a 4.58-foot side yard setback to the north. When combined with the 6-foot south side yard setback, maintains 10.5-foot aggregate for a reduction of 4.42 feet aggregate and a reduction of 0.42-foot side yard. The original dwelling, when this was constructed, had a 3-foot platform exiting from that rear corner of the dwelling. The AC units were not filed for when the house was proposed. They extended the platform, creating what we'll call a deck structure instead of a step structure, which brings us before the board today, reducing that side yard setback. Because we are in a flood zone, the mechanical equipment must be elevated. We've submitted photographs to the board showing that it's maintained in excellent condition. The setback to the AC units themselves is 7.4 feet, which is a reduction in aggregate setbacks from the AC unit and the south side yard of 13.4 aggregate to the AC unit, a reduction of 1.6 foot from the required. The AC units could not be constructed forward of that location due to the fact parking is at a premium on Neptune, so they have parking that actually goes up alongside of the dwelling so that the AC units could not be located in that area. They pose no noise issues or site issues to any of the neighboring properties. We have had no objections to the existence of these since they've been constructed. The board has any questions?
Any questions? Any other questions, since we have no questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Mindel, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Are you the next case, too?
Yes, I am.
Next, we have cases 17025 through 17125, Seaford, Virginia McKeon. Maintained 5-foot high fence forward of the dwelling on Sydney Court, which may substantially obstruct line of sight. Variance side yard. Maintained 2 AC units attached dwelling, also known as 1473 Sydney Court. Have you signed in from sworn in from earlier? Just your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Gregory Mindel, 84 Bunker Hill Road, Salisbury, Connecticut, 06068. Referring to the owner, Virginia McKeon, of 1473 Sydney Court, Seaford, New York.
Afternoon. Again.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again. We are here requesting permission to maintain a 5-foot high fence forward of the dwelling on Sydney Court, which may substantially obstruct the line of sight. I submitted a panel of photographs. I can submit 2 more to clearly illustrate to the board the existing condition. The house is maintained in excellent condition. The fencing is angled at both front corners of the fencing, which prevents any obstruction of vision down that sidewalk along Sydney Court.
Mine only shows one sort of angle, the one, not on
Sorry.
the property line, but once it cuts back and then up toward the house, it's angled.
The front corner at the driveway is angled, I should say.
Pardon me?
The front corner at the driveway edge is angled.
You took these are,
I meant both corners along the driveway are angled.
these are the same photographs we have in the file.
Yes,
You took these?
yes, sir.
When,
They depict the existing condition. The house is maintained in excellent condition. You can see by the photographs, there is a vehicle in the driveway. It poses no line of sight issues when pulling out of that driveway and egressing Sydney Court. I'll submit to the board a number of consents from neighbors located on the radius map, which
Accept
sign stating
those.
they have no objection. The second part of our case is to maintain 2 AC units located in the east side yard. We would be required to maintain a 5-foot side yard. We maintain 3.95 feet to that side yard for a reduction of 1.05 feet. I'll submit to the board photographs, again, that I've taken that clearly depict the existing condition on that side yard. Of the 2 AC units and mini-split AC unit. This is located on the east side yard, which is the side yard where the neighbor has their garage and driveway. So this poses no noise or sight issues to that particular neighbor. Again, we've submitted consents stating no objection to any of these structures. The property is maintained in excellent condition at all times. If the board has any questions.
any other questions? Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Mindel will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's ready.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have cases 17225 through 17325, Merrick and Thomas Morrow. Variances, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, construct 2-story addition attached dwelling, demolish existing detached garage, maintain shed with less than required side yard setback, also known as 164 Sherman Ave.
Who's on this case? Oh, Mr. Castellino.
Gennaro Cozzolino, 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good afternoon, Mr. Castellino.
I think you took the new one.
Here for the homeowner, Thomas Maurer, of 164 Sherman Avenue, Merrick, also known as Section 56, Block 22, Lot 305, located in a Residence B zone. We are requesting relief from the board to build a 2-story side addition, the second floor addition, and a front portico. Proposed additions require variances for minimum side yard setback, requesting to build at 5.18 feet instead of 6.25 feet, a difference of 1.07 feet. Variance for aggregate side yard setback, requesting to build at 17.18 feet instead of 18.75 feet, difference of 1.57 feet.
Mr. Cozzolino?
Yes.
You mentioned a second-story addition also. Is that an as-of-right addition? It's not before us. There's a 2-story addition before us
Right.
and
And-
maintaining a shed, but we don't have a second-story
Second-story.
addition.
Well, it's part of the whole, it's part of the project.
But that does not require relief?
No,
Right.
That's why it's not there. Okay, go ahead.
where was I at? Side yard aggregate requesting to build at 17.18 feet instead of 18.75 feet, difference of 1.57 feet. Variance for front yard setback requesting to build at 25.08 feet instead of front yard average of 25.25, difference of 0.17 feet.
7.
The existing detached garage is to be demolished, and we are also maintaining an existing frame shed with the side yard setback at 1 foot instead of the 2 foot permitted, difference of 1 foot. Proposed additions comply with all other zoning requirements, will have no significant impact to the environment, and will fit in with the character and nature of the neighborhood.
Any questions from the board? Not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed under the decision calendar. Mr. Cozzolino will be notified by mail of the board's decision
Second.
once it's rendered.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Next, we have case
Taboada.
17425, Seaford, Elise Taboada, variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, side yards aggregate, maintained dwelling, remove portion of building, also known as 3978 William Street. We also have case 17525, Seaford, Elise Taboada, variances, subdivision of lot area, front width from and on street line to front setback line, lot area occupied, construct dwelling with garage, south side of William Street, 300 feet east of Monroe Avenue.
Thank you. Subdivision.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Benesso for Shelley Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, Elsie Taboada. She is the owner of the premises with an address of 3978 William Street in Seaford. Seated to my right is Mr. Barry Nelson. Mr. Nelson is a real estate appraiser who's been recognized by this board on hundreds of occasions as a real estate expert, and he's being offered here for that purpose. The applicant is seeking variance relief to permit the subdivision of her 100 by 100 foot lot in Seaford on William Street into 2 parcels, 250 by 100s. As such, as this is the Residence B district, we need lot width variances for 50 feet of width as opposed to the 55 requirement, and also we need area variance for 5,000 square feet as opposed to the required 6,000 square feet. There is an existing dwelling on the premises that is going to remain with a modification. A portion of the dwelling will be removed to leave the dwelling on one lot. That dwelling will then have side yards of 5 feet on each side. So in addition to the lot area and lot width, it will require an aggregate side yard setback variance to permit 10 feet as opposed to 15 feet. The other lot is going to be situated with a new single-family residence that will comply with all setbacks, including the aggregate side yard setbacks, but it is slightly over the permitted building area. 27.5% is required, and it will be at 28.8%. That said, as referenced, it fully complies with all setbacks, so it's something of an invisible variance, if you will. The area is made up significantly of similarly sized lots. If you look at the 100-foot radius, you'll find a total of 13 lots. Of those, 12 of the 13 are the same size lots, 50 by 100 with single-family houses thereon, 92%. If you look at William Street itself, running the distance of the 200-foot radius, you'll find 13 lots, one of which is commercial, the rest residential. Of the 12 residential, 9 or 75% are the same size lots. So this is not a request that will generate anything but an in-character subdivision. The lot area, the lot width is entirely in character. The new home to be built is compliant with town height and number of floors requirements. It does not have an outside basement entrance. It's only accessed from the interior of the house. And it's basically an inline colonial with only a powder room on the first floor. All of the bedrooms and full bathrooms are up on the second floor. As mentioned, the other lot will maintain a house that is to be modified. There's a den structure on it that is going to be removed, but the remainder of the house will remain on the property. Each property will have its own driveway capable of accommodating 2 cars, and the new house will have a garage as well that can accommodate that. So with that, unless the board has questions of me, I'll turn it over to Mr. Nelson to provide his opinion testimony.
Mr. Nelson, you've been qualified on many occasions as an expert to testify as to real estate values. Since the last time you qualified by the board, have any of your qualifications changed for the worse?
No, sir.
Have they changed for the better?
Yes, sir.
And you are free to testify as a real estate expert.
Thank you. For the record, it's Barry Nelson, 220 Pettit Avenue, Belmore, New York, 11710. Council's gone over the case substantially. I try not to repeat what he said. Generally, the property is north of Sunrise Highway, east of the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway, and west of Washington Avenue. The area is fully developed. In the subject block, the block front between William Street on the north and Clark Street on the southwest side of Washington Avenue is a business zone, approximately 100, a little bit more on the northerly side, a little bit less on the southerly side. Retail stores that were constructed in the 1950s. The remaining area of the map are single-family houses.
Christina.
Most of them are similar in lot sizes as proposed in this application. The proposed subdivision is on lot lines. For the subject property, there are 4 tax lots, 25 by 115 in depth to create 250 by 115 parcels, 5,750 square feet. As mentioned previously, the pattern of development, both on the north side and the south side, conforms, or the proposal conforms to the pattern of development. That would be consistent within the subject block, and that would be section 52, block 151, and on the north side of William Street. The proposed new home is a colonial. The subdivisions in the area that have been created over the years, and you'll find many of them on the north side of William Street, the last 2 lots in block 149, tax lots 95 through 98 were originally 100 by approximately 115 that were divided in 2 lots in 1975. The parcel to the west of the subject property was created in 2020. The north side of Clark Street, you'll find similar subdivisions, 2005, and this is in the subject block just to the southeast of the subject property, and that would be tax lots 5 through 8, was created in 2005. The 9 and 10 lot was a single and separate lot that was developed in 1960. Lot 11 and 12 was done in 1995, and that was subdivided off a larger lot, 100 by 115, and that would be part of lots 13 through 15. Now that was subdivided further in 2014, and that would be 2 single homes, one on lots 13 and 14, and the other on 15 and 16, and that was created in 2014. The last parcel on Clark Street was created in 1962, and that would be lots 17 and 18. What I just mentioned are all 50 by 115 approximately in size. The board might be concerned with the other oversized parcel. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't handed in exhibits. I have comparable sales. I have aerial views of the subject property and photographs of the subject property and the surrounding uses. Yes, I did. In my opinion, they do, yes. And all these exhibits were submitted through the portal 30 days ago. The board would be concerned with a precedent-setting subdivision if it was granted, while that has already been created many, many years ago in the area, but parcel lots 60 through 63, which is 100 by 115, is a large, very large colonial known as 3964 William Street. That's worth close to $2 million. It's a large colonial. I have a picture of that dwelling. That parcel does not economically lend itself for a subdivision like the subject property. The last one would be the corner of Monroe Avenue and Clark Street. It's a larger colonial built in the early 1940s. While today it does not lend itself economically to be demolished for 2 new houses, I don't know what the market will bring in 25 or 30 years, but for the next 20 years, we don't have to worry about that parcel. So what we have is 2 50 by 115 parcels in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and pattern of development. As Councilor mentioned, within the 100-foot radius, over almost 80% is substandard. Within the subject block, over 70% is non-conforming, comparable to what's being proposed. And on the entire map, almost 60% is non-conforming. Just to note, the parcels further north of William Street on the south side of Maplewood Drive, those were on a filed map, and they were a slightly different type of subdivision. Nevertheless, those parcels are all created. There are no further subdivision parcels in that area, as well as on the south side of Clark Street. Values are strong. Original houses that were built in the 1940s, maybe a little bit earlier. The Cape Cods there are running about $500,000 to $650,000. The new colonials, and I provided comparables, will sell in excess of $1 million. And again, these numbers are based on history and should continue to appreciate. The economics and the benefit to the applicant, in my opinion, are beneficial both to the seller and to the developer, outweighs any detriment to the surrounding community. All municipal services, concrete sidewalks and curbs, asphalt paved road, fire hydrants are all within the vicinity of the subject property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Just for the record, Mr. Nelson stated the correct lot size. I did not. I misspoke and said it was 100 by 100. It's actually 100 by 115. So each lot is 50, each proposed lot is 50 by 115. So I stand corrected. But that is our direct presentation.
Mr.
That's our
Bonesso,
planning commission. Yes, sir.
do either of you, Mr. Nelson, was this property previously subdivided?
Yes, sir. You want me to go?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Along these lines or different ones?
Well, originally, all of the lot lines have never been altered as far as 25 by 115 tax lots. The last subdivision would be the 50 by 115 to the west of the maintained house, and that would be tax lots 64 and 65. The original house was maintained on what's today, before this board, today on the,
Isn't the construct house to the west?
to the east.
Oh, on my thing, I thought it was the opposite by looking at the, okay, sorry, Mr. Nelson, go ahead.
The new house is proposed on lots 68 and 69 The maintain is on 66 to 67.
So she carved off 64 and 65 and
Correct.
2015 or something.
Correct.
Is what we did get 1 acre opposed to it.
Correct.
Citing water pressure and crowding, street parking, all.
Right, so, and that's why I mentioned the pattern across, in the subject block to the south and southwest. And that would be those tax lots that I mentioned on the north side of Clark Street,
She's still living.
and that would be tax lots 11 through 15. Similar type of scenario. One house was carved off originally, and then the remaining house, approximately 20 years later, was knocked down for 2 new houses. Thank you.
Elsie got any more property to cut off of it?
I don't think so. I think this is
We got the
this is the end of the road for
Yeah,
Ms.
the
Chabawada.
opposition said, Elsie's already subdivided her house once a couple of
Yeah.
years ago. It was very close to my house. Then went on to talk about me.
Right. At
So I
that time,
got a kick out of it. Elsie did that.
at that time, she had a 150 by 115.
She had 150 by, okay. It was a park.
That's our direct presentation. Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local determination.
Any questions, any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Nelson and Mr. Vanessa, you'll both be notified by mail the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
When he said
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Next, we have cases 17625 through 17725. Merrick Lauren Bloomer. Variance, lot area occupied, construct second-story wood deck with stairs, attached dwelling. Variance, side yard, maintain AC unit attached dwelling, also known as 1620 James Street. I still have you sworn in from earlier, just your name and address for the record.
Mr. Mindel's back.
Hello again. Gregory Mindel, 84 Bunker Hill Road, Salisbury, Connecticut, 06068. Appearing for the owner, Lauren Bloomer of 1620 James Street, Merrick, New York.
folks, no offense intended, but it's kind of difficult to hear up here, so if you're going to engage in conversation, could you please do it outside and then come back in when you're finished? Go ahead, Mr. Mindel.
Good afternoon. Lauren Bloomer recently purchased this home in which she was made aware that there were a number of permit issues. I was called in to legalize those issues. We have filed a number of permits that have been approved. Generator permit 24-7556, hot tub permit 24-7567, and a fence 24-7571, which leads us to these 2 applications, one of which is to construct a new wooden deck with stairs attached to dwelling. Currently, there is an existing deck on the rear of the home. This had been constructed many years ago to replace the original deck that had come with the house. The original deck with the house was approximately 96 square feet and did have stairs from that upper level to grade. The deck before you today is proposed to be 12 foot by 21 foot, approximately 156 square feet larger than that deck, and will also have stairs to grade. I can submit to the board a photograph that I'd taken in the rear yard in which you can see the existing deck that was constructed without a permit to replace the original deck. It has stairs in the same direction that we propose. The deck maintains the required rear yard and side yard setbacks. It's only here for lot coverage due to the fact it is higher than 3 feet. At the time when this house was constructed, we would be allowed to maintain a 30% lot coverage. Since then, zoning had changed, reducing it to 27.5. We can go up to 30% if the deck is less than 3 feet high, but that is not the case in this particular proposal due to the style of house. The existing deck that's there has never had any objections to its existence or privacy issues with any of the neighbors. The second part of our case is to maintain an AC unit located in the side yard. As you can see by the radius map, this is a very unique parcel with location to the neighbor. The AC unit is located in a side yard. It would require a 5-foot side yard, but maintains 1.42 feet for a reduction in side yard of approximately 3.58 feet. That particular side yard is actually the rear yard for the neighbor's house and is also located on the driveway side. So there's actually a big curved area of lawn. You can see that in the photographs that I've submitted to the board. It poses no noise issues, no sight issues for the neighbor. It's been there for a number of years. Unfortunately, Lauren Bloomer inherited all of these problems, but has quickly undertaken steps to resolve all of them. That's essentially our case. Yes, that has a permit. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would not come before this board if everything had not been applied for or legalized. It shows nothing. Yes. Yes. That application had been filed August 5th of 2024. We have not called for a final inspection on anything. Building inspectors are busy. It's easier just to do an all-encompassing one shot. I'm going to try not to. My wife is away.
He's going to
I
hit
need get
traffic.
home.
Mr. Chairman, I would just move that the hearing be closed and that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Mindel, you'll get a copy of the board's decision in the mail once it's rendered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great day. The good news is it's snowing when I left this morning. It's not now.
Next, we have case 17825, Inwood Yeshiva Nashmas Hatorah Incorporated. Special exception to construct basketball court and stadium seating in conjunction with proposed educational use, install retaining wall 1 foot 2 inches to 6 foot 3 inches high with 6 foot fence above, varying in total height from 7 foot 2 inch to 12 foot 3 inches, forward a dwelling on Zavit Street, also known as 80 Mott Avenue.
Thomas McKevitt, Son Ward Brav Cascignano, 333 Earl Irvington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, 11553.
Daniel Weinberger, 38 Meadow Road, Inwood, New York, 11096. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Once again, so anyway, as I indicated beforehand, Thomas McKevitt of Son Ward Brav Cascignano. This is an application on behalf of Yeshiva Nishmas HaTorah, which I learned this morning means soul of the Torah. So I'm getting better with my phrasing. This is it's an application for a special exception to construct a basketball court with stadium seating in conjunction with an educational use and construct a retaining wall with a 6-foot fence. This is located at 80, the main premises is located at 80 Mott Avenue in Inwood, known as Section 40, Block 44, lots 13 and 17 on the land tax map of Nassau County. The property is split between business zone, 100 feet on Mott Avenue. Everything beyond that is a Residence C beyond that instance. Just to really backtrack, this is the second time this property is really before this board. This came before the board back in October of 2021 that Christian Brown had brought, and that was for the approval of the religious school at that site, and that was under case number 21-1380, and was approved by this board on November 10th, 2021. And that was essentially uses for the religious school, off-street parking, parking residential C-zone, area, front width lot with occupied, a number of variances dealing with the use. The board did issue its decision. It did have a number of conditions with it, which also I have a copy of the decision as well too, just to give an indication what was happening at that point, in case to refresh your recollection. No. 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 Absolutely not. No. No change in parking whatsoever. Again, what was approved back in 2021 was the use of the school with the variances with it. This is just this lot, which is on Zabit, which is connected to this property from the interior. And again, when you look at the photographs, you can certainly see on photographs, for example, 3 and 4. Number 3 is the photograph from within the interior of the property, and number 4 is the view from Zabit. This has been a vacant lot for quite some time. And again, in conjunction with the approval for the school, this is simply going to be a basketball court. So just to summarize what this use is, the use is a religious school, is a boys' yeshiva. It has very specialized attention. So the number of students at the school has been approximately 62, although it possibly has capacity at 80, and this board put a limit at 80. Again, we're not going to change any of the conditions which was priorly granted by this board.
Is it surrounded, I'm looking at your picture 3. Is that, I see some houses, are those all used residentially still, or?
Yes. Yes, they are rentals around that point. So if you want to go and see more of the street over there, if you want to look at pictures, for example, 8 and 9. For example, number 8, you can see up the street, and 9 is across the street of the street. And number 10, photograph 10, are the 2 houses immediately north of that lot, which is currently a vacant lot.
And in quite a bit in disrepair.
They are.
This must be an improvement.
I'm not going to comment on the state of the properties, but just historically, it's interesting. The Nassau County Assessment Department, on their aerial views, has actually updated in the last 3 or 4 months. And I'm going to show you something interesting. You can now get aerial views from selected periods of time, 2000, 2004. And I'm going to show you the 2000 aerial view, which will give the council the board. But in the year 2000, approximately 2003, this lot was used for the storage of approximately 18 automobiles. I'll show you the picture. That's what it was. So, and during, now, when you look at the 2004 and above photos, it was used for storage of a better explanation, junk, debris, garbage, and essentially it's been in this vacant state since it's been acquired by the yeshiva in the last couple of years.
It's not a Superfund site, is it?
No, it's, you don't want to do that to the yeshiva, trust me. They've got, their prayers work better than that, better than mine.
Oh, I see how it hooks onto the property.
Right,
Well,
right. From when you're on the main property, it conjuncts right into it. And even though there is view from Zabit at that point, it looks like to me they use Zabit in order to get access to the lot. But you can see the storage. They just simply dump cars there for a significant period of time.
and is the red on this photograph where this 6-foot fence upon a retaining wall is proposed?
Yes,
Is that like a visual block to keep it separate from the homes, and vice versa, I take it?
more importantly, to keep the basketballs from bouncing onto the property. They are students. I'm not sure how good they are, but we want to make sure of that. And when you look at the application, you can say, and this is what I think is, and that's one reason why I give you 2 exhibits. One was the photographs, which I took personally last Wednesday, so they are fair and accurate representations why I took it that time. So I asked the board to submit as evidence. I took it myself. But I did want to give you the other exhibit, which was the architect schematic. The board already has it. Yeah. Because I think it really gives you a fuller indication what's going on here. We're not building a stadium here. What is that one end, we're just having tiered seating, and the reason why, because of topography. It's not a flat period of land, so you have to do some excavation and digging to make it work. That's why. So that's really what it comes down to. And just, getting to the school is open Monday through Friday, and also from 7:30 a.m., beginning of the students coming to school. There's dismissal between 5 and 6:20. It's a high school, boys between the ages of 9th and 12th grade. The basketball court itself will be used Sunday through Thursday, September through June, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. There'll be approximately 10 to 15 boys at once using the court. And the reason why it's seating there is for the boys who are simply resting, for them place to sit. Because you can't sit along the side because that's where the basketball court is. So that seating up against the building is just for them to rest when they're, going for your second, your reserves back there. That's what it really is. Yeah, there's going to be no competitive games. So it's not like we're going to be playing competitive teams from other teams with parking. These are teams literally from just the use of the boys' practice at school. There'll be no guests. And again, it's not a stadium. It's not during any more traffic. These are the boys who are already at the school, and we're just using a basketball court for them to play with at that point. I will defer to the board. So I do have Rabbi Weinberger, who's the dean of the school, who's here as well. The architect is here as well, too, to answer any other questions the board may have regarding the project. There is not. There was one comment in opposition, which apparently is for another yeshiva in the area. It was not ours. So I think the comment was misplaced into our file. But it's definitely not yeshiva, Nishmas HaTorah, the soul of the Torah. Yes.
I have a question. I do. Is the school in session now? I mean, is it?
Rabbi,
School's in session now, yeah, not in that location, but the school's in session.
Oh, right, but that location is not being used as of today.
Not at the moment, no.
Well, if you look at photograph 1, it better not be because we have no
No, I-
windows on it. No, the
Right.
yeshiva has been
And
renting
when-
properties for Inwood for a number of years, and really they want a permanent home. So you've been in a number of locations, like correct, Rabbi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be their permanent home fixture, but it's 90% complete. So we should be hopefully completed in
A few weeks.
a few weeks. We'll be finally complete and get the boys moved into it.
So they will start like mid-semester.
I said we probably, the way it looks like, realistic, with have to get in the CFO.
Probably the end of
Probably
the
the beginning of September.
probably September at this
Okay,
point,
All right. Okay.
realistically.
Is there a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on the decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Definitely an improvement. I think it's pretty cool the way it's sunk down there. Well, it couldn't look any worse. When we're looking at that, that's on Nassau Expressway.
I gotta get the money.
Next, we have case 1307 of 25, Seaford, Anos Development Corp. Variances, front yard setback on Merrick Road and Southern Avenue, construct second-story addition and canopies attached to existing building. Variance in off-street parking and special exception to park in front yard setback on Southern Avenue. Proposed retail stores and offices above, also known as 3875 Merrick Road. Mr. Bonesso, we have you sworn in from before, but Mr. Muller, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your names and addresses for the record.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Bonesso for Chelly Deegan Tarana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, Enos Development Corp. The corporation is the owner of the premises. Mr. George Vutsinas, to my right, is the principal of that corporation. To his right is our architect. And to my right is Mr. Wayne Muller, who is with R&M Engineering. Mr. Muller is a transportation engineer who has been recognized by this board on dozens of occasions as a traffic and parking expert, and we offer him this afternoon in that capacity. The application before the board involves the parcel of property situated on the northeast corner of Southern Avenue and Merrick Road in Seaford. It is an existing building for the most part. The building itself has been there for about 50 years. In 1980, it was approved as a 9,292 square foot two-story building with 12 parking spaces thereon. Since that time, some 7 or 6 diagonal parking spaces were added along the right side of the property where the curb cut is off of Merrick Road. So physically, there are 18 parking spaces on site. The applicant is, when the applicant bought the property about 3 years ago, it was vacant. It had last been used as a bank with offices on the second floor. Now, my client purchased it, and he intends to repurpose it for retail use on the first floor with office use on the second floor. And in order to provide better leasable space for the offices, he is proposing an addition on the second floor to square the building off so that the second floor will now be the same size as the first floor. So he is asking to add 1,172 square feet to the second floor. That triggers a parking variance for that space, which is, rounds up to 6 parking spaces.
Mr. Benesso, you said
Yes.
that you have 18 physical parking spots. What was your requirement then? If you said it, I apologize.
It was 12.
So it was 12 versus 8, so you didn't
Yes.
have a variance?
In 1980, the site was approved. I could not find any particular decisions on it, but I have here that it was approved in 1980 with 12 parking spaces.
Oh, so you mean you have 12 spaces that are, was that the required with the physical 18, or?
No, it was approved. The site plan that's in the building department indicating that the TOH permitted the building at 9,292 square feet, showed 12 parking spaces. At some point, the prior owner added 6 diagonal spaces running up the easterly side of the property.
But you don't know then how many were required, so we don't know what the variance was that you already were granted. Because
Correct.
that would, you would
Yeah.
carry over.
But what we can deduct from that is that since the building was legal in 1980 with 12 parking spaces, we have to account for the additional 1,172 square feet, which would trigger the need for 6 parking spaces. So we're basically asking for a 6-space parking variance. Yes, Mr.
In addition
Pellegrini?
to the 12 that was already approved.
But we don't
In
know
addition
what
to the 12 that
variance
was already approved theoretically.
So they got approved for 12 spots to use the building, but we don't know what they were required, so we don't know what you, because if
Oh, I
you,
see.
let's say 15 were required in 1980, and you got approved with 12, so you already have a 3-spot variance.
Correct. Yeah,
Right.
that would be the case if that was.
So then you would only need another 3-spot.
No,
What
we
I'm
would
trying to
need
figure
another
out.
6, no, we would still need another 6 spots because
Well, because you
we're
changed the
adding
size.
1,172 square feet. At 1 per 200, rounding it up, it's 6 spaces.
And that 1980 approval, that was what it was last used as. There was no use in between that changed those.
Well, it was, either way, it was a bank with offices above. The parking requirement was 1 per 200. We're now proposing retail. Okay, maybe Ms. First can shed some light on this.
First or second floor. They needed 46 and 6, and they provided 13. So if they were granted that, they don't need a
Yeah.
parking variance now, do they?
Total area, 46.
Ms. First, was there a prior variance?
A
Because
big one.
we couldn't find it. Yeah, well, that would make sense because
It
there was a
was-
municipal parking lot right behind it that that I'm sure they based the variance on.
It was case 692, October 23rd, 1979. It was heard by the board December 19th, 1979.
Okay. And that approved it with 12 parking
You,
spaces?
no, 13.
Oh,
You
13.
needed 46 plus 6 for the drive-through, so 52, and it says spaces provided 13.
Plus a variance for parking in residence.
Oh, and some of them were in Res B, I guess.
Okay.
So here you are again.
Here we are again,
Thank you,
involving a 6-space variance
So we're gonna say it's 58.
for the,
I don't know.
it's actually, it would be 53, I guess.
No, that one was 46 plus
Right.
6, so that's
Yeah.
52. And so now if you need 6 more, it's 58, right?
No. No, I mean, if you calculated it today at 5,232 square feet on the first floor, 5,232 square feet on the second floor, that would require a total of 26.14 spaces. Per, f- I'm sorry, per floor. So that would be 53 spaces. So 53 minus the 48, it's basically 5 spaces, 6 spaces. That's the additional space. That's the additional variance we need, a 6-space parking variance. Now, additionally, the notice references front yard setback variances on Southard and Merrick. The building is not being increased in size or footprint. That is in connection with some canopies that are being added to the building, but the canopies are, the lowest portion of the canopies are at 7 feet, 8.5 inches, so they won't impose on anybody walking on the sidewalks by the property. And we were actually told that that would normally not be required as a setback variance, but they nevertheless put that on. Correct. There's already a second floor. The only thing we're adding is 1,172 square feet in the rear of the building on the second floor. And then the other item is, and this, again, I don't understand why this is even a requirement. We have a special exception for parking in the front yard setback on Southern Avenue. I can only surmise that it's for the one handicap parking space, which is already existing and was shown on the prior plan. So, but either way, that would be the one parking space that would be in the front yard setback on Southern. So that being said, as indicated, my client is proposing to utilize the building for retail on the first floor and have office space on the second floor. The required parking variance is for 6 spaces based upon the prior approval in 1980. And we have had Mr. Muller's office perform a parking study to determine if there is available parking in the area to accommodate the additional need presented by this additional square footage. And I'm happy to have Mr. Muller provide his testimony.
Mr. Bonesso,
Yeah.
so Ms. First said that back in 1979, one of the other variances was front yard, Res B parking. Do you still need that, or they just keep the one that was in place from then? Are any of them in Res B?
Well, all of that parking is already in Res B. We're not adding any parking in Res B.
Okay, so the front yard was, even though it was there already?
Correct. Mr. Muller?
Mr. Muller, since you were previously qualified on numerous occasions before this board as a traffic and parking expert, since the last time you were qualified, have any of your qualifications changed?
No, they have not.
All right, then we will again qualify you as a traffic and parking expert for the purpose of testifying as such.
Thank you. For the record, Wayne Muller, Robinson & Muller Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. As part of this application, we have prepared a parking analysis dated March 6, 2025, which was previously submitted to the board as part of the application, and I had just transmitted additional copies for the board here this afternoon. And as Mr. Bonesso indicated, we are seeking parking relief from the building zone ordinance in order to construct a very modest 1,172 square foot second-story addition to the existing, which was a bank building, which is now going to be proposed as a retail on the first floor, office on the second floor building. As part of our analysis, we performed observations in the adjacent municipal parking field, that's parking field S-1, which is located just due to the north of the subject property. Those observations were performed on Friday, February 28, 2025, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., and again on Saturday, March 1st, 2025, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. We checked the calendar for the existing funeral home located due west of the subject property, the Charles G. Schmidt Funeral Home. And from their calendar, we've determined that they had, I guess, I don't know what you'd call them, viewings on Friday, the 28th of February, for a person called Bernard M. Allaire, and again on Saturday that happened. So there was activity at the funeral home when we performed our observations, which is kind of probably a very typical event in that area, because the funeral home really doesn't provide a whole heck of a lot of on-site parking. The results of our analysis is summarized in the tables appended to my report, and what we found was that on Friday, February 28, 2025, the peak activity on-street and in the municipal parking lot actually occurred at 5:30 PM when typically the offices would be closed. And in the municipal lot, S-1, there were a total of 83 vehicles parked, translating to a 62% occupancy, leaving 51 vacant parking spaces. The on-street area that we observed, which is right along the site frontage on Southern Avenue, just south of Ray Street, indicated that those parking spaces were fully occupied. The peak time on Saturday afternoon occurred at 11 a.m., in which there were, again, 10 vehicles parked on street and off-street. In the municipal parking lot, there were 27 vehicles parked, translating to a 20% occupancy, leaving 107 vacant spaces. As indicated in my report, we estimated the quantity of anticipated vehicles to be parked excuse me, by the office use and the retail use, and then factored those numbers into the existing counts and determined that, excuse me, there's more than sufficient parking on street and in the municipal parking areas to accommodate the very modest 1,100 square foot addition to the subject building. I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Easy.
Choking. That's my testimony, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's our direct presentation. If the board has any questions, we'll be happy to answer. The Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local
Local
determination.
Okay. We have someone who appears to have signed in opposition, Mrs. Grubb. Would you like to address the board? Okay. Where's Waverly headed? Where is her? Where is it?
Margaret Grubb, 3936 Waverly Avenue, Seaford. I do oppose it. I'm here as president of the Seaford Chamber of Commerce. All well and good that we are fixing this building because it does need to be done. But our feeling is if you're going to take away our municipal parking lot, that keeps the chamber, that keeps the library, that keeps the residents of Seaford out of the town of Hempstead municipal lot because they need it for their businesses. It's not fair. If they do it this year, what are they going to do next year? Put another piece on the building and then take out more spaces from the town of Hempstead municipal lot. We use it for different things for the chamber. The library uses it in the summer for the children's programs, also for their concerts. We're asking that you not allow them, park there, but not give them variance that it's theirs and they can use it whenever they want. It's not fair to the residents of Seaford.
No, they're
Yes.
just asking to be excused from providing a calculated number of spaces on their own
On site.
property, and to explain to us how they could still function properly, like most every business, to be honest, in the town of Hempstead comes before us and says, the numbers, when you calculate them raw, say I need, X number of spots, but the truth is that, people walk, or whatever the excuse is, or they're non-simultaneous use. And just so you know, if we were to get a couple people that we couldn't accommodate on our spot, there is a town lot over there that they could use, but it's by no way are they being, even if we were to grant this, would they be being granted any use of that lot any more than what you have, or she has, or anyone else here has. It's nothing, they can't mark spots, they can't take them, it's just overflow parking they want to convey to us that there's a place for overflow parking to go like any other business in the neighborhood.
So you're not requiring them in the footprint that they have to put in more spots. They are then they're asking to use the town of Hempstead municipal lot.
They want to they just point out that that's available for anyone in the community, and there is no more space, frankly, on their lot. And all they're going to do is, they're not enlarging the building other than squaring off the second level, and there would be nowhere to put more spots, because there's a certain size they're required to be, so the land's what the land is.
We don't have the ability to authorize them we don't have the ability to authorize them to use a municipal lot. That's not within our jurisdiction.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Vanessa?
No, I would just parrot back what Ms. D'Amato and you said, Mr. Chairman, that the municipal lot is there for all businesses and residents to use equally. They are there basically throughout the town as safety valves to provide additional parking for those properties that can't provide all the necessary parking on site. So I think we've established that we need a relatively few additional parking spaces based upon the 6 spaces required for the addition, and that this 134 space municipal parking lot can certainly accommodate any overflow that we may have as a result of that. So that being said, that's our direct presentation.
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in, including you, ma'am, will receive a copy of the board's decision in the mail once it's rendered. Thank you all for coming and participating. Have a nice day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Stephanie, do you need a little break?
Thank you for your time.
So we're going to take a 10-minute break to give the court reporter the opportunity to flex and get some blood in her fingers, all right? And when we come back, we'll hear the 2 p.m. adjournments, okay? Do I tell them now that we're recused? Okay. So, Joe, you're going to chair the, do you want to make the announcement? Do you want to make the announcement that we are recused, both of us? Thank you. My son's girlfriend
this chair. Dominic, I take this chair, though. That one sucks. It's ready to fall apart.
I don't care which chair. This is a better chair?
I think so. It's
I'll
not
let you
like...
guys sit in the better chair.
Please.
sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I turned it off. Stupid ass. Please have a seat. It is on. Have a seat, please. Let's be quiet. Mr. Owens, should you please call the case?
Yes, sir. Next, we have case 1302 of 25 near Malvern Gold LLC, variance subdivision of lot, construct dwelling with garage, parcel 1. Rehearing case 48523, east of Hempstead Avenue, 85.01 feet south of Emerson Drive, formerly known as 496 Hempstead Avenue. We also have case 130325 near Malvern Gold LLC, variances subdivision of lot, no front width at street, construct dwelling with garage with insufficient access pursuant to section 280A of New York State Town Law, parcel 2, rehearing a case 48623. We also have case 130425 near Malvern Gold LLC, variances subdivision of lot, side yards aggregate, no front width at street, maintained dwelling on a lesser lot with insufficient access pursuant to section 280A of New York State Town Law, parcel 3, demolished existing garage, breezeway, and pavers with steps, rehearing a case 48723, as well as case 130525 near Malvern Gold LLC, variances subdivision of lot, no front width at street, construct dwelling with garage with insufficient access pursuant to section 280A of New York State Town Law, parcel 4, rehearing a case 48823.
Before you do that, Mr. Minerva, let the record reflect that Mr. Regano, Mrs. D'Amato are not participating in this case.
Thank you. Dominic Minerva, Minerva and D'Agostino, 107 South Central Avenue, Valley Stream, New York, attorney for the applicant.
Barry Nelson, 220 Pettit Avenue, Belmore, New York, 11710.
The application before you today is for variances to permit the construction of 3 new single-family dwellings on the subject premises while maintaining the existing single-family dwelling on a lesser lot with some modifications. Subject premises is located at 496 Hempstead Avenue in Malvern. It's known as Section 35, Block 480, Lot 2 on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. It's located in a Residence A zone. Subject parcel is located on the east side of Hempstead Avenue, approximately 80 feet south of Emerson Drive. Subject parcel contains 44,243 square feet, and the proposal is to subdivide the parcel into 4 lots, with the parcel fronting on Hempstead Avenue proposed at 11,160 square feet, followed by the next parcel, parcel 2, going east at 10,291 square feet. The parcel 3, with the maintain of the existing house on the lesser lot at 9,442 square feet, and the final parcel to the rear at 13,350 square feet. The variances requested are for no front width on a dedicated road and insufficient access under 280A of the town law for parcels 2 through 4. And the same variance for parcel 3 plus a minor side yard variance, 46.1 feet aggregate required and 45 feet proposed, and 15.3 feet individual side yard requirement with 15 feet proposed, and those side yards are adjoining the 2 other proposed new dwellings. Each new dwelling is proposed to have a 1-car attached garage and a 2-car driveway. Dwellings 2 through 4 will be accessed via 31-foot wide private right-of-way located on a small portion of the southerly part of the subject property and on the property to south via a common driveway easement and maintenance agreement. All proposed parcels are oversized as to the front width as well. Those front widths range from 124.39 feet to 146.27 feet on the private right-of-way, whereas 60 feet is required. I note for the record that the Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local determination. I would also note that there was a prior application on the subject premises with 4 homes proposed to share the private right-of-way, which has now been reduced to 3 homes accessing the private right-of-way. A small portion of the rear of the premises contains wetlands. The applicant would not be permitted, nor is there any construction proposed on the rear wetlands. There will be no access, road, or driveway to the community to the rear. In addition to the fact that the applicant would not be permitted to make any improvements on or over the wetlands, for an extra layer of protection, the applicant will agree to record a covenant and restriction against the property prohibiting same. Lastly, I would also note that this parcel does not go through to Arnold Road, so there is no direct access or frontage of this subject parcel on Arnold Road, which is the road that would be to the community to the rear. As you will hear shortly, the proposal is in keeping with the character of the area and will not be detrimental to surrounding property owners. As I described, all of the parcels are proposed to be substantially oversized from the minimum requirements, and the variances requested are more technical in nature than actual variations from the applicable requirements. So if this was a dedicated road, 1, we can have more than 4 parcels, possibly up to 7, and 2, we would not need variances. We have the front width, we have the access. 288 requires 15 feet, we have 31, so that's why I'm saying that these are technical variances. And at this time, I'll hand the microphone over to Mr. Barry Nelson to testify.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes,
since
sir.
the last time you've testified, have there any changes in your credentials?
No, sir.
You may continue as an expert with regard to real estate values.
Thank you. As council mentioned, the property is on the easterly side, Hempstead Avenue. It is south of the Southern State Parkway. It's within the unincorporated area of Malvern, town of Hempstead, and it's a residential A zoning. The surrounding area is residential A zoning, except for the parcel to the south, which was rezoned from residential A to CA, multifamily residential zone. Just to the south and the southwest would begin the incorporated village of Malvern. The subject property is entirely in the town of Hempstead. The application before the board is to construct 3 new homes and maintain the existing on almost slightly over 1 acre of land. The parcels that are proposed, the front parcel off of Hempstead Avenue would have 11,160 square feet.
That's parcel number 1.
Parcel number 1. Parcel number 2 would have 10,291 square feet. Parcel 3 would be 9,442 square feet. And the last, most easterly parcel would be 13,350 square feet. The development to the north has a similar type development, but those properties access off of Emerson, and that was originally 1 parcel, now 4 homes, frontages to the north on Emerson. Those parcels, each and every one, except for the last one, would be smaller than each parcel what is proposed in today's application. The property to the south is on a little over 1 acre, a CA parcel, CA condominium parcel, multifamily, that was formerly a residential A zone, that was rezoned several years ago, and now under construction are 12 owner-occupied, 1-family townhouses, accessed off of the right-of-way that is being proposed for the access of the 3 homes to the east of the parcel 1. That is approved, substantially constructed, and is part of the neighborhood. Now, what you have between the 2 of those parcels together combined is over 2 acres of land. The property that was rezoned is a little over an acre. The subject property is a little over an acre. The rezoning, and as a CA zoning, you're allowed to have 20 units to the acre. We have to the south on that parcel approved 12 units. With the proposal for the subject property of 4 dwellings, 3 of them accessed off of the right-of-way, you'll have 16 units to 2 acres, and if the subject property was rezoned, it would be allowed to have 40 units. So what's being proposed for 1 acre is in keeping with the development in the area, and lot sizes substantially greater than the residential A zone requires, 6,000 square feet. As Council mentioned, if this was a public right-of-way, or was laid out slightly different, the applicant would need to provide 6,000 square feet on each parcel, and then that 1 acre would yield 7 building lots. We're proposing 4, a maintained and 3 new ones. The pattern of development in the area is predominantly single-family houses on approximately 6 to slightly larger in lots around 6 to 6,500 square feet. That would both include in the town of Hempstead side and in the incorporated village of Malvern. Immediately to the south of the subject property, which would be Atlas Court, and Atlas Court is partially in the town of Hempstead and the incorporated village, there is a development, or a proposed development, where the parcel to the south of the subject property on Atlas Court, split zone between town of Hempstead and Malvern, I believe was approved for 3 new homes on much smaller lot. The homes on the easterly end of Atlas Court in the village, they maintain non-conforming sizes. They were approved many years ago. One, I believe, with 20 feet, and the other one approximately 15-foot frontages that were developed in the incorporated village of Malvern. And they would be known as 16 and 18 Atlas Court. The northeast corner of Atlas Court and Hempstead Avenue is a mixed-use residence, professional office, and residential use. Just south and southwest, we do have a former gas station that currently was approved for redevelopment as a service station and a C-store. It isn't completed, appears to be in construction now. Nevertheless, what's being proposed is 4 homes on an acre of land in an area that's fully developed. Hempstead Avenue provides access to most municipal services, provides for access to local everyday conveniences, and into the village of Malvern downtown business district. The Southern State Parkway is to the north. The interesting aspect is that the condominium development has been approved, has been developed, will provide the access to Hempstead Avenue, which will be, whether this is granted or not, will be existing. We'll have a roadway area of approximately 31 feet wide, paved with utilities on the area right away. Typically, most roads, in fact, Atlas Court is a narrower road with development. Typically, a right-of-way in the town of Hempstead was 50 feet wide, and I think they upped it to 52. That was with sidewalks and curves on both sides. So what you had is 10 feet on the north side for sidewalks and curbs and the right-of-way, then in the south side. And the paved area inside the curb to curb was about 30 feet wide. And it's sometimes a little narrower, sometimes a little wider. But typically, your town of Hempstead roads are 30 feet wide. What is proposed in this application is consistent with public right-of-ways throughout the town of Hempstead. And that's on residential streets. Your main thoroughfares on your main terminal they're wider. Nevertheless, what's proposed today is a reasonable development for the subject property. 4 homes on a little over an acre. Again, the rezoning was approved across, on the south side, 12 units on 1 acre. Values in the area are good, substantial. They start anywhere from 500 and run in excess of $1 million. And new homes at this location will sell for $1 million plus. The homes on the south side of Emerson, abutting the subject property to the north, when they were constructed, they were little bigger colonials, and they sold for about $600,000 about 10 years ago, and will be commanding close to $1 million, maybe a little bit more, like what would be proposed in the subject property. In my opinion, the proposed development is in keeping with the pattern of development, would not alter or change the essential character of the neighborhood. Again, residential, single family, 4 houses on 1 acre. Thank you.
Any questions of this witness?
I have a question. How many curb cuts now are there on Hempstead Avenue? Or there will be, how many curb cuts?
You have for the condominium development,
One.
and then you have the existing house as a curb cut. So what we have today will be consistent with what we have after the proposed development.
Just want to clarify. So there's 2 curb cuts, one for the 12 townhomes and one for the existing house on our lot. We are showing the circular driveway proposed for the new house when we reconfigured it to front on Hempstead Avenue. So subject to 239F approval, it would be 3 total curb cuts.
Okay, so there will be 3. There'll
3
be
is
the curve,
proposed on the
the
current
curve
PZA site
will
plan.
be 2, and then the
Right.
other 3 houses will use the driveway which the townhouses use.
Correct.
Okay,
I do have some areas.
all right. The other question I have is, this will be a permanent easement?
Yes, there'll be a permanent deeded easement recorded against both properties. It's not of record today because
No, I
unless and
understand.
until this, project moves forward, it would make no sense, so.
Right.
But there will be a permanent recorded easement against both properties for access and maintenance.
Okay, so the deeds for the 3 properties will show that permanent easement?
We would record it against the section block and lot for all of the 2 parcels together, and then anyone who ever runs a title search, it'll come up as a covenant, as an easement recorded against all the parcels.
Right, against all the 3 new houses?
Yeah, it would show, correct, whether,
Well, the new I
it
know
will
the
show,
ones in existing
it will come up on the
houses.
title for all 4 houses and for the 12 townhomes.
Oh, for the one on parcel 1 also?
Yep, you can
So
record
one
against
for
everything.
all of them, okay.
Yes.
And there is a homeowners agreement on who's going to maintain?
So that's in the easement. It's a common driveway easement and maintenance agreement, and that's all spelled out in the agreement.
Okay,
If your council needs a copy, I can provide a copy.
all right. The other question I have is trash pickup. How's
That's going
that
to be by
going to?
private carding.
So they'll go in, or will the trash
Yeah.
have to be taken out to the end?
They'll go into the private right-of-way.
So it'll always be private?
Yes.
Okay.
Satisfies that. Your next witness?
Okay.
If you're-
I'd like to call Wayne Muller.
afternoon. For the record, Wayne Muller, Robinson and Muller Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York.
The last time you were here, an hour ago, have your qualifications as a expert changed?
No, they have not.
You can continue as an expert with regard to traffic and what else do you do?
Parking.
Parking, thank you.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Wayne Muller, Robinson and Muller Engineering. We prepared a revised traffic analysis for the subject development, 496 Hempstead Avenue, latest revised February 24, 2025, previously submitted to the board as part of the application. Additional copies were submitted here this afternoon.
We have this on file, thank you.
Thank you. As Mr. Minerva and Mr. Nelson has indicated, the proposal before the board today is essentially a 4-lot subdivision with one of the lots to be maintained. It's located on the east side of Hempstead Avenue, due north of the existing, is that a condominium? Or townhouse? 12 townhouse development, which is currently under construction, which I also testified to some time ago. For the record, I'd just like to submit a few copies of it's the approved 239F for the development just to the south of the subject property that's currently under construction.
So that Nassau County approved the site plan and for the townhouses?
Correct.
And what exactly does 239F include for the edification of the public?
Well, 239F includes a review of the curb cuts, traffic, drainage, grading. So they do a full engineering review. Sewer.
Yeah, lighting.
Thank you.
Everything.
Okay.
And I just want to highlight before I discuss my report, so on the second page of the documents that I just submitted, it shows the existing roadway that's currently under construction for the townhomes, and what it shows at the intersection of the townhome driveway and Hempstead Avenue, which will now become the common driveway, that the county has indicated that there'll be no left turns from the common driveway to make a left out of the development to go south on Hempstead Avenue. The left turns will be allowed to be made into the development, but there'll be no left turns out.
Okay.
And that condition will hold true if the subdivision were to be approved by this board and the roadway slightly widened from the condition that's shown on the plans.
Thank you.
So as indicated in my report, we prepared a fairly detailed examination of the potential traffic impacts associated with the 4-lot subdivision. I'll actually call it a 3-lot subdivision because one of the homes actually exists. As it is indicated in page 205 of my report, we estimated the quantity of additional traffic that would be generated by the 3 new dwelling units because there's one existing, and that's indicated on the first paragraph of page 2 of my report, which indicates that the number of trips generated during the various peak hours, that being the morning peak hour, the midday peak hour, the afternoon commuter peak hour, and again on Saturday is relatively minor. The maximum number of trips would be 3, 1 vehicle per home, and that would be during the weekday PM and Saturday afternoon peak hour.
That's 3 trips per hour.
3 trips per hour, yeah. That's it, maximum. We also generated the quantity of traffic that would be generated by the 12 townhomes due south of the subject property. That's shown on the about 4th, 5th paragraph of my report. Obviously, that's going to generate more traffic because there are more units, 3 versus 12. That maximum traffic generation for that we anticipate to be 7 per hour during the maximum hour for the 12 attached units. So therefore, the total number of newly generated traffic as a result of both developments would be a maximum of 10 trips per hour during the peak times. As indicated on the 3rd page of my report, what we did was we consulted the New York State Department of Transportation traffic data viewer, and that's shown on their website. And what that is a compilation of traffic volume data in and around the state of New York, and they have detailed information on Long Island, Nassau, and Suffolk counties, New York City, all the counties upstate. And what we found was that the average annual daily traffic associated with Hempstead Avenue during the various peak hours. We were able to determine what the traffic is on Hempstead Avenue during the morning peak hour, the midday peak hour, the PM peak hour, and the Saturday midday peak hour. And that information is shown in my report. And essentially what we're saying in the report is that the level of increase in traffic on Hempstead Avenue due to the construction of the three additional homes, as well as the 12 townhouses which are under construction, would be very, very minimal. Less than 0.5% increase in traffic on Hempstead Avenue. However, we took that analysis even further, and what we did was we performed a traditional capacity analysis at the intersection of Hempstead Avenue and the common roadway, assuming that the townhouses were built, and then upon the construction of the 3 single-family homes. And that analysis was prepared in accordance with recognized procedures in accordance with the Highway Capacity Manual. And what that manual is it's a compilation of analysis procedures for various different intersection types, that being either unsignalized or signalized. The roadway intersection of Hempstead Avenue and the common driveway will be an unsignalized intersection, so therefore we were able to model conditions before and after the introduction of the traffic generated by the 3 homes. And what we found was that upon the construction of the 12 townhomes, and then the introduction of the 3 new single-family homes, that there would be no significant change in operating conditions at that intersection upon the introduction of that additional traffic. And what we also did finally was we performed a site distance analysis of vehicles that were leaving and actually making a right turn out of the common driveway onto Hempstead Avenue. We found that the site distance for the vehicles making a right turn far exceeds the requirements. I think we need 330 feet is the required site distance for a vehicle to make a right turn as viewed looking out to the left. We have 400 feet. So therefore, from a traffic engineering perspective, the approval of the subdivision that's before the board this afternoon, from a traffic engineering perspective, would not have a significant impact on the roadway conditions that are in and around the subject property. In addition, we believe that the county has already made a determination as to how the common driveway will function, and there'll be left turns will be prohibited exiting that driveway, creating a safer condition than if they were to allow left turns. And therefore, we believe that if the board were to approve this, there'd be no significant impact on traffic conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Muller? Microphone.
The house that's on Hempstead Turnpike, one of the proposed homes. Hempstead Avenue, I'm sorry. That it shows a circular driveway entering and exiting on Hempstead. Will that house not be allowed to make a left turn?
I would assume yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that has, these plans were prepared by a different engineering firm, Carl and Dunn. The plans for the townhouse were prepared by my firm.
Okay.
It's a little premature for them to send them to the county at this point, because the 239F procedure is typically performed during the building permit phase. So it's a little preliminary for them, but I would anticipate that the county would prohibit lefts coming out of that driveway. It would make sense, especially because it's a circular driveway, and the car would be pointed in
Head
a little
out,
bit
so there'd be,
in a northwesterly position,
Okay.
hard to look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Minerva?
that concludes our direct case. We ask for an opportunity for rebuttal.
You will have an opportunity. We'll hear from the people who signed in. And then you'll have an opportunity, Mr. Minerva, to summarize or rebut if necessary. anyone who wishes to testify must be sworn, so would you please stand? Anyone that wants to speak in the case, please stand up. Yes. You could move up forward. No, I say you could move your seat if you want to get closer. We're gonna call on, we're gonna call by, but the. Yes, Elizabeth Freeman. She's not speaking. She's, okay, you're not speaking. Alan Freeman, there you go.
Yes. Members of the board, good afternoon. My name is Alan Freeman. I reside at 248 Morris Avenue in Malvern Park, which is between Hempstead Avenue and Dogwood.
How far away from the subject premise would you estimate you are?
About half a block, but in 42 years of residency, I've driven that intersection thousands of times.
Okay.
Okay. I want to just go back to the fact that there was a meeting here 2 years ago during the summer in which many of my fellow citizens were here to complain or bring to light the same thing about the traffic pattern. And at that time, we were very clear in that we didn't accept what was said about the survey that was done. We're there, we see what's going on. And there are people who are going to speak today, will talk to you about the impact on the Oaks. I just want to talk about two particular things, about that right turn and about that left turn.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's easy to say, okay, there'll be a sign up that says no left turn, as though that doesn't mean much of anything and everybody will take a right turn. A right turn from that place means that in order to go south, either on Ocean Avenue or Hempstead Avenue, means you have to drive north, either into the Oaks and around, and come back to the traffic light on Emerson, or go over the overpass, down to the light there, take a left onto the street by the elementary school, come under the Dogwood Avenue underpass, and then come back to the Hempstead Avenue intersection. And that's several minutes. So it's not a simple thing. Now, the gentleman talking about the impact of their particular dwellings, but the dwellings in aggregate, the ones that were approved and the ones that are going to be approved, are going to cause, at best, traffic snarl-ups and at worst, accidents. In fact, the only reason that we know about this meeting today was because my wife was stuck in behind traffic caused by an accident north of the intersection, and she saw the sign and was able to read it. That's the only reason I'm here, because we didn't know about the meeting otherwise, but it gives you an indication of the potential for traffic snarl-ups. But taking a left turn out of there when you want to go south is very key. Otherwise, you have to drive all the way around to make a left turn. And it's not just the residents. Okay, it's not just the residents. It's all the traffic that comes in from garbage trucks to visitors to whatever commercial tradesmen are all going to be using that access. So whenever somebody says, there'll be 10 cars at peak time, I don't know if they're accounting for all the other traffic that's coming in. Okay, and human nature says that even if 80% of the time residents decide that they're going to follow the law and take the right turn, anybody not believe that people are going to blow that off and take left turns when they think they can make one? Because I've been there for 42 years, and I've seen people take hellaciously bad decisions making turns on that intersection. Okay, so that's first. Second, coming south from the overpass, going towards the turnoff, you're going to have to turn against traffic to get into that intersection. Okay, now, again, if we're just talking about a finite number of residents from their dwellings we're not talking about a lot of traffic. But when you're talking about the aggregate of all the cars that are going to go in that entrance over the passage of time, and the additional trucks and other service vehicles that are going to go in, and the visitors, okay, we cannot be certain that people are going to follow the law and be careful about making left turns into that intersection. Not unless somebody's going to put a full-time traffic presence there and start handing out tickets, you know, until the cows come home, until there's some sort of you know, some sort of way that prevents people from doing that. Because I haven't seen a lot of traffic, you know, ordinance there except for when there's a traffic light out. But in order to ensure the safety of the people going through that intersection, you're going to need some sort of presence there. But I go back to my original premise. When it is said here that the residents will have to take a right turn out of there and not be allowed to take a left turn, what that means is a whole lot different than what they're saying. Thank you.
Understood, thank you. Bill Lynn Wolfenstein? I said it right, good.
Mrs. Wolfersdorf, 32 Gerard Avenue East, Malvern Park.
Could you pull that microphone down a little bit?
Sorry. Is this better?
Yes,
Okay.
much better. Thank
So, we moved to Malvern Park about over 30 years ago.
And how-
Because there was no, we knew it was single-home areas. This condo complex was originally single homes. The property was purchased. We went to the meetings to protest any kind of commercial property, and all of a sudden, the zoning law changed, and nobody were aware of that the zoning law was changed, and they were allowed to build these condos, which have been unoccupied for years. So I questioned the traffic study. You have 12 condos, 3-bedroom condos. You're doing a study without it being occupied. So in my eyes, 3 bedrooms means usually if a family moves there, 2 adults and maybe up to 3 or 4 children who grow, and they also get cars. So now you're talking about 4 to 5 cars per unit. Has that been taken into consideration, I wonder? The problem with that also is there adequate parking for those condos? Because if people move in and they end up getting a car, or their children start getting cars, where are they going to park? You can't park in the village, so they're going to be parking onto our side, which is opposite in the park section. So parking is a big thing for me. Also, the traffic study, like the gentleman earlier said, that's a very busy intersection. You have cars coming off the Southern State Parkway, cars coming in over the Southern State Parkway, cars coming the opposite way. I know that I live on a one-way, and I have the opportunity of turning left or right, but I always turn right most of the time because it's impossible. The lights are all different, so even though this light might be stopped this way, there's cars still going that way, so it's hard to make the left. And there's a lot of accidents there. So I'd like to know, has anybody done a study how many accidents there have been? Because there was a 4-car collision yesterday. There were, my neighbor on the corner, their fence has been replaced several times. There's a lot of accidents, and there's no way to alleviate it. So I can't imagine having that condo complex filled, plus the addition of the homes. My other question is, if the condo complex, which was originally zoned for single homes and suddenly overnight was zoned to be commercial, how do I know that these 3 or 4 new homes won't be suddenly changed and turned into commercial, zoned for commercial, to match those condos that are still empty? That's my other thing. Let me see here. I also like to know if this would be tabled before your decision, and another meeting be held in the evening, because everyone on my block works all day. I'm the old fart that's still home during the day. I like to see my block has a lot of young people with children. You know, I'd like to see if they can have a say in the matter. and other residents on other blocks that may not have the opportunity to come. It was funny how the sign was posted on Hempstead Avenue, but there was no way that you could read when this meeting was, because to get across the street is almost impossible, to walk across the street on that side. And again, this lady got to see it because she was stuck in traffic. That's about it. That's all I have to say, I think. I hope you reconsider. I would love for you to, one of you, to come down to that area during peak traffic time to see what it's like, because that's really the story. You can hear all these lovely reports, but they don't live there. They're not there all the time. It would be nice if you came to see what it's like in traffic at 5 o'clock in the evening or early in the morning, like 8, 9 o'clock, because you're dealing with the schools, the kids, people going to work. It's mayhem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Connie Wolfinger?
Good afternoon. Connie Wolfinger. What else should I know?
Your address,
599 Mohawk Road, West,
and then I'm going to ask you, how far are you away from the
about a
subject?
block and a half.
Block and a half.
Okay, to get to my house, you have to go down from Hempstead Avenue. You have to go down Emerson Road, and that's a big problem, because
Okay.
most people even coming along, excuse me, Ocean Avenue, and if you're coming along Hempstead Avenue, that merges right up to the Southern State. What happens is a lot of people miss the Southern State to come into Emerson, and you have to go around and come out. There's been so many accidents down there between coming off the Southern State, coming down Emerson. I can't even imagine with these homes going up. I want to know when that traffic study was done. I want to know who did it. It's unbelievable. You can go there at any time, day or night, and that is jammed. And there's always accidents. People don't stop at the light. I've been hit twice up there just coming out from my house. People come out of Emerson or even Hempstead, God forbid you come out off the Southern State, because there's a light right there where you have to stop. People coming off, and I have to, when I come out and I make that, I have to make a left going down Emerson to get to my house. I have to put on my blinkers, my four-way flashes, just to alert people I'm going down each time I was hit. I can't even imagine what's going to happen with the 4 homes up and people trying to come out. They're not going to make a right. They're going to make a left. Believe me, they are. And I think, honestly, you have to be sensible about this. It's not just 4 homes. You're talking, what are they? Condos, right? So each story is like, say, a family of 5. You're talking about 4, say 3, I'll give you that. 3 to 4 cars each one. Add that on. No matter what time of the day it is, it doesn't matter. They're going to make a left. They're not going to make a right. I can't even imagine what's going to happen. I can't imagine. Because every week there's an accident. Every week. So, I don't know what you're going to do. You know what? Another thing. You never announce when these meetings are. People who work would prefer it at night. I know a lot of people can't do that, but if you want everybody involved, they would love to come. But we don't even know what's going on. I mean, when these were built, we didn't know it had been rezoned, and I think that's terrible. I really do. You know, if we put up a little fence, next thing I know, somebody's knocking on my door saying, you know, you have a permit. Well, I don't know. I'd really like to know who did that traffic study. Thank you.
Thank you. Did your husband want to speak also? You signed in, it's up to you. If you want to just agree with what your wife said, state your name. Don't talk yet. Wait, time out.
The driveway.
Wait, time out. Name and address for the record.
Charles Wolfinger, 599 Mohawk Road,
Okay.
in Malvern Oaks, which is right adjacent to the buildings the homes they want to build in the condominium. Their driveway would be about 100 feet from the entrance to Emerson.
If they can't make a left, they're gonna come down through our neighborhood and go around, and as well as the parkway that's coming off the parkway, north and south right there. The traffic is horrendous, and when the railroad goes down, then it's back all the way up to the school in both directions. It's a terrible idea, and people are gonna make the left. They're not gonna go to Malvern. No, of course they are. That's where all the shopping is. They're gonna make the left off there. So it's pretty much what everybody else is saying. The traffic would be terrible. That's all I got.
Thank you, appreciate it. Irene Simmons, there you go. Like the others, please state your name and address for the record.
Irene Simmons, 600 Mohawk Road. I live across the street from Connie and Charlie, so I'm about around the block. My concern is when these people who live here are coming home, so they have to make a left into their area. The traffic on Southern State is going to be so terribly backed up because it's so tight there. They have to stop because they have people coming the opposite down Ocean Avenue and people coming around from Hempstead Avenue. So they're going to be held up. Very seldom are they going to be able to go right in. You see the traffic. It's going to back up on Southern State, which backs up onto the belt. It's going to go all the way around. I see them when they're coming off also, when they're going north from Southern State, it backs up. Coming out of Emerson, where I have to come to enter Hempstead Avenue, or Ocean Avenue rather, it's a very short light. So if people are coming down and backing it up, they'd have to change the light. It's just too short. They give, in fact, you see the other people have a yellow light, and that's your cue to zip out. It's really awkward. So please take that into consideration.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Carl Corlando? Please state your name and address for the record.
Name is Carl Calandro, address 608 Mohawk Road, West Hempstead. I live 1 block away from where this project is going on.
Thank you.
My concern, like everyone else's, is the traffic. If that traffic survey thinks people are going to come out of there and make a right turn only, I'd like to know where they live or where they come from, because that ain't going to happen. If you take the no left turn down in front of the police station where the shopping center is, 99 out of 100 cars that come out of there make the left turn. What makes me think that people coming out of that project is going to make a right turn only? And where you're going to go? They're going to come down my street, make U-turns, back into my driveway like they do now because they don't know where they're going, pull up on my grass, put marks on my grass, and then drive away. And that ain't going to happen. That's going to be accidents, going to be there every day. And my thing is, there's an empty gas station across the street. I'm thinking about buying that and opening up a body and fender shop because you're going to make a killing there. The fact that they did a traffic survey, I'd like to see that traffic survey. I did my own traffic survey off-peak. I guess 3 o'clock is considered off-peak, and this is the traffic that's there off-peak. Now, I don't know. I see nothing but solid cars. When people coming off that parkway headed south and you want to make a left turn on Emerson, traffic on the exit ramp backs up for a mile. So who's going to stop and let that car go by? They don't stop when I'm trying to make the left turn to go into Emerson. That's going to be a nightmare over there, a definite nightmare. And who did a wildlife survey on that land? what are they gonna do with all the wildlife that lives there? Kill them? Hopefully that they'll move? What are they gonna do with them? That's just something, you know,
Yes.
somebody told me about a long time ago. And it made sense to me. Now, is there any way that we can get a copy of this traffic survey they took?
Yeah, we just know, you know, it was also on file with the application.
Would you just like to see the pictures that I took?
Yes, you could submit that if you wish, yeah, absolutely. So, Mr. Muller, you gave the gentleman testifying a copy of your traffic study.
I did.
Thank you.
Now, where those pictures were taken, I'm basically
Yes.
standing in the driveway.
Do we know the date and time that the photos were taken?
Date and time of the photos.
Yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock. If you want, I'll go home and get my camera and show you the pictures on the camera. It's got the date and time. I had a hard time printing them. Not being computer savvy made it tough for me. Okay. I don't see any timestamp on this one.
Timestamp?
I see a date.
If you'd like, for the record again, Wayne Muller, R&M Engineering. There's a picture that's appended to my report on the last page. If you'd like, I could answer the question pretty simplistically. So the picture was taken on Saturday, February 15th, 2025 at 11:30 a.m. And as you can see from that photo, there's no traffic on Hempstead Avenue in the
Understood.
vicinity of the driveway.
And that was part of the peak hour study.
Correct. So it is what it is.
That's when Mr. Muller did the traffic study, on-site traffic study.
This photo was really to, as indicated in the report, to show at the site distance from the driveway as viewed for somebody who's going to perform a right turn out of the driveway. They look to the left. So you can see from the photograph, you can see clear down to the lighted ocean, approximately 400 feet away. So you can see traffic coming at you in order to safely make the right turn out of the driveway. And again, but at the time that my engineer took the photo, there was no traffic on Hempstead Avenue. Probably stuck at the two lights.
Understood. Thank you.
Now, what about the people going south on Hempstead Avenue? They want to make a left turn to go into the complex. When I took my driving test 50 years ago, crossing the double yellow
We'll
line
answer those
was
questions
illegal.
on rebuttal.
So these people have got to cross the double yellow line to get into their homes?
I have that in my notes.
Oh, it's illegal now?
No. Did you hear what he said? He'll answer your questions.
I have a hard time.
That's okay. So am I. He'll answer your question when everybody finishes testifying. He will submit a rebuttal or comment back to the board, and he made a note, and Mr. Minerva will address your issue.
I think I covered everything. The traffic is my biggest concern. It's not gonna work.
Thank you for taking the time.
What do I know?
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
Jose Vasquez? He left? Okay. Wayne Muller again, Minerva. Mr. and Mrs. Fucci? Step up to the podium if you would. And as everybody else, state your name and address for the record, and
Hi,
welcome.
I'm Judy Fucci. I live at 1141 Sunapee Road. I'm pretty much across from the wetlands, so pretty much in the Malvern Oaks area, I'm pretty much as far in as you can go. So I'm probably about like 2.5 blocks from where the problem is. But I still take the same, there's only one way in to our area, so making that left turn, I've had lots of experience. I've lived in my house for 36 years. Turning in is, at times could be a problem. Like 9 out of 10 times, my eyes are in my rear view mirror, making sure somebody getting off the parkway isn't going to run into me, because there are times I saw someone, I'm like, they're not stopping, I have to go. But I don't want to repeat everything else that everybody else said, but an important thing you have to realize, in that short piece of land from 17 South onto Hempstead Avenue heading south, the road forks. You have Ocean Avenue, Hempstead Avenue. Now, that little part of Ocean Avenue, so why it's so congested is people who live in Oceanside and Rockville Center, that's their main artery to get home when they're coming off the Southern State. So, and then we have, the railroad crossing on Ocean and the railroad crossing on Hempstead Avenue. When the train comes during rush hour, you can forget, traffic is backed up. There are times I'm coming out of my neighborhood and I have to wait for several lights because of the, backup from the train and everything else. But the important thing I wanted to say is that you have to understand that little short piece of road, it's not just us. You have these people who go into Oceanside and Rockville Center. So when we have so much going on between the parkways and the little light and the Ocean Avenue split and everything else, so, it's something to consider as well as why that little piece of road is so congested where the condos and the houses would be. So, with that said, that's all I've got.
Thank you, appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? We understand that. I've been there myself. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak? No more comments. Mr. Minerva, it's your opportunity to summarize
so
and rebut.
We'd like to address some of the comments that were made and answer some of the questions. They provided no empirical evidence. Obviously, we performed further studies to support our projections. There was a reference to all traffic, all from this development and the townhome. All traffic is only 10 cars over the peak hour combined between the homes and the townhomes, and that's combined entering and exiting. For the townhomes, there's 34 spaces provided and 32 required. That was a question. They're actually slightly overparked. There was a question about whether this would be changed to a commercial multifamily development. That would need town board approval. We cannot just go and do that. And I would submit that once 3 brand new homes are constructed, it would not be economically feasible to subsequently demolish them for a multiple family dwelling. And again, that would require substantial additional approvals from the town. With regard to the missed turns for the parkway, that may be an existing problem. We don't know the extent of it, but our homeowners aren't going to contribute that. If you're living there, you're going to know where the parkway entrance is. Another comment was made about the left turn into the private right-of-way. This movement is permitted for everyone on Hempstead Avenue and the side streets. We would be adding a max of 3 cars in the peak hour to this movement, and we would be the only parcel with the restriction to not be able to make the left turn out. Everyone else would be able to make the left turn out. The concern about the Emerson left turn, the people turning left onto Emerson, that's an entire community that's turning left to get to the Emerson Drive, to the community that's to the rear of ours. We're 3 cars at the max peak hour that would be making that turn. We would not interfere with, and we're further south, so we would not interfere with those people on Emerson and that community behind trying to make that left turn.
I would just like to, again, Wayne Muller, R&M engineer, just to answer the gentleman's question about the crossing of a double yellow line and what the significance of that is in New York State. So I just quickly Googled
One sec, can you hear him?
I just quickly Googled the New York State DMV website, and that's www.dmv.ny.gov, and what came up was the New York State Driver's Manual and Practice Tests under Chapter 4 Traffic Control. And what they say here, if you let me scroll down to the pertinent section, so you've got double solid line, so that would be a double yellow line, and really what a double yellow line is installed to do is it's to indicate to motorists that you can't pass. So you really have to stay in your lane and go in one direction. As it says here, you cannot pass or change lanes. You cannot go across lines except to turn left to either enter or leave the highway. So if you're traveling in a lane that's faced with a double yellow line, you can make a left into the driveway, as in this case, legally, or you can make a left coming out of the driveway. But the double yellow line is to separate traffic. I mean, we don't have a lot of passing zones here on Long Island anymore, but if you're familiar with driving in upstate New York, where you've got, say, a solid line on one side of the road and a dashed line on the other where you're allowed to pass vehicles that are going slower than you, a double yellow line is to indicate in areas where passing would not be permitted, and they really want you to stay in your lane. I don't think there are very many passing zones on Long Island anymore.
Thank you for that explanation.
Lastly, I just note, if there are times when the area does back up, our traffic simulation study has indicated that we will not contribute a noticeable difference from our development to those existing traffic conditions. And the last thing, Wayne was just going to touch on the easiest way to travel southbound exiting our site.
When I drove through the area multiple times,
Pull the microphone closer.
I'm sorry, and I made a right out of the property because left turns will be prohibited. I found it the easiest way to go back south on Hempstead Avenue would be to go up to the Parkway and use the cloverleaf to come back around and then go south on Hempstead Avenue rather than trying to negotiate through the residential streets. It just made sense to me, so I kind of zipped around and then came back down. You'd hit the two traffic signals and then go back down on your way to the south. And that would be what I would do if I was to live in that development.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Minerva, maybe you can tell us about the right turn coming out. How are you going to try to prevent people from going left?
Yeah, okay.
As indicated on the plans, the county has indicated that we will install signage to force people to or alert them to take a right only.
But anything else other than signage, maybe concrete?
There's really, the way that the existing condo development or townhouse development was designed, there's just not enough physical room to install a pork chop in that area. But again, the way that the county is attacking the installation of turn prohibitions and no parking prohibitions is that ultimately the developer will have to seek town board approval to have that sign ordinanced, meaning that it's just not like a sign that's going to be installed that has no weight. It would actually be enforceable by the police department to say, well, if they saw someone make a right, they can ticket them for doing that.
Okay, so you can't have the road like curved to the right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just physically not enough room. Yeah.
No, my understanding is that Nassau County Department of Public Works, it's their road, that they won't approve lights so close to other traffic lights.
And there's very, very, very specific criteria in accordance with the manual on uniform traffic control devices. And what that is a document that's probably 7 inches thick that contains all these specific criteria that have to be satisfied in order to have a traffic signal even be considered to be installed. And most of the criteria specifically relate to the amount of traffic that's generated. For the intersection or a roadway that's entering another roadway. And in this instance, the levels of traffic that would be coming out of the street would be so low that it wouldn't even come close to any of the minimum thresholds. Everybody would love a light, but it's just not, it's not feasible.
Mr. Minerva, is that your case?
That concludes our case, and we request your favorable consideration.
The board, okay. Kim, motion, any questions of the members? No.
I would object to any re-rebuttal.
They're not going to, thank you.
I move the case be closed and put on, anybody that signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision once rendered.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What'll happen, it'll be on reserve decision, and the board will review the documents that were submitted to us. We will take probably another visits to the property. All of the board members are familiar with that. And it will be referred to the attorney for the board to review the minutes, testimony, et cetera, and we will hold it on reserve. We'll get a draft decision from the council, and then it'll be made public as to what the board's determination is. Thank you all for taking the time. I appreciate it. The board will take a 10-minute recess.
Okay, case 169 of 2025, Seaford. Brian Mui, variances, side yard aggregate, maintained deck and 2 air conditioning units attached to dwelling. Property address is 2611 Neptune Avenue in Seaford. Do I have any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, file number 169 of 25, Brian Mui, Seaford, address 2611 Neptune Avenue, be granted as requested.
Second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Cases 170 and 171 of 2025, Seaford. Virginia McKeon, maintained 5-foot-high fence forward of the dwelling on Sydney Court, which may substantially obstruct line of sight. Variance side yard, maintain 2 AC units attached to dwelling. Property address 1473 Sydney Court in Seaford. Do I have any comments from the board or questions? If not, do I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Cases 172 and 173 of 2000. Temporary. Yeah. 172 and 173 of 2025, Merrick Thomas Morrow. Front yard average setback. Side yard aggregate. Construct 2-story addition attached to dwelling, demolish the existing garage, and maintain a shed with less than required side yard setback. Property address 164 Sherman Avenue in Merrick. Any questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 172 to 173 of 25 in Merrick, Thomas Morrow, located at 164 Sherman Avenue, be approved as requested.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Case 174 of 2025, Seaford. And case 175 of 2025, same Seaford, LC Taboada. The first case, 174, was a subdivision, lot area front width from an on-street line to front setback line, side yard aggregate, maintain a dwelling, removal of a portion of the building. Property address is 3978 William Street, and the second case is 175, companion case, which, if they didn't request that both cases be heard together, we should grant the motion that they should be heard together. We need secret determination on both. 175 of 2025 Seaford, that's a variance subdivision of lot area front width from an on-street line to front setback line, lot area occupied, constructed dwelling with a garage. The first one was to maintain a dwelling with removal of a portion of the building. Any questions or comments?
I move that cases 174 and 175, that the board adopt a negative declaration as to secret determination based on materials in the file, the review that was done by our office, and the testimony heard today in the courtroom.
Second.
Motion.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I further move, despite LC having already subdivided her property in 2015 on the other side,
Call her LC
I
baby.
further move that the applications both be granted as requested with the usual subdivision and new house conditions.
Did they agree to a condition owner occupied?
I don't know, but I think it's
We'll put it down.
I think it's a standard condition.
Okay.
I don't
Yes.
recall if we asked.
Yes, they did.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Cases 176 and 177 of 2025, Merrick. Lauren Bloomer, variance lot area occupied. Construct a second-story wood deck with stairs attached to dwelling, and the side variance for the side yard. Maintain AC unit attached to dwelling. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that case 176, 177, Lauren Bloomer at 1620 James Street, Merrick, be granted as requested.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Case 178 of 2025, Inwood Yeshiva Nishmash HaTorah,
Mishmash.
Inc. Special exception to construct the basketball court and stadium seating in conjunction with proposed educational use. Install retaining wall 1.1 foot 2 inches to 6 foot 3 inches high, with a 6-foot fence above, varying in total height from 7 foot 2 inches to 12 foot 3 inches. Photo of the building's on Zavat Street. Property address is 80 Mott Avenue. They offered hours, days, and maximum number of people.
Correct, and also no competitions. Mr. McKevitt's emailing me those conditions.
Okay, okay.
We need to see whoever does it.
And
All
then,
right.
just,
Secret.
understood,
Secret.
but also it's fencing.
Oh, yeah, should we do that temporary?
I mean, maybe
Yep.
see how that is for the first
Yeah, I think so.
go-round.
Because it's up there a little high.
Temporary 5 years.
For the
Yeah, I think
fence.
that makes sense, so we get it looked
Yep,
at.
yep.
Because I'm guessing some of it's gonna be, end up being living.
Case 178 of 2025, property 81 Avenue in Inwood. I move that we adopt the negative declaration after the secret determination based on the testimony given, exhibits in the file, and other materials we reviewed and analyzed.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Any opposed?
Case 178 of 2025, property located at 80 Mont Avenue in Inwood. The fencing should be temporary for 5 years, and any conditions which will be given by our attorney or the attorney for the yeshiva. So this case should be granted.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
You texted that name to me, and look what comes up, and I didn't ask for it. That's all right, I had that clearance anyway. What? Yeah,
Probably, I don't know.
why is it Wikipedia? I want to get it out of there. Okay.
Now Malvern Gold, is that gonna be held?
No, we have to do 13 and
Oh, I'm sorry,
1306.
my bad.
1307.
7.
Anus Development Corp. That's what we all called it. Variances front yard setback on Merrick Road and Southern Avenue, constructs second-story addition and canopies attached to an existing building, variance in off-street parking and special exception to park in the front yard setback on Southern Avenue. Property address is 3875, and we need a secret determination. Yoo-hoo. You can't build the extension. See, for an extension.
Can I
of the
just say,
existing-
if we added six,
What?
if you look at the old grant,
You hate to see what?
it said, the old grant was a 42 required, 40,
46 required, 13 were provided.
wait, no, I think it was 46 and 6 was 52.
They need 6 now for the
No, but if you
addition.
look at the prior grant, you can check it. But it said for the first floor, 46, for the second floor, 6.
Okay.
So I took that to be 52, and then he needs 6 more, so that would be
58.
58 now, right? He didn't quite, when he did all the numbers, just forgetting the prior grant, all the numbers, he came up with, I think, 53. So one of those two numbers, somewhere in that range, is what the current requirement is. It doesn't really make sense if, I know it should have been 52 before, because I saw the 6 of them. Okay. Anyway, we should address what he needs now and what he's providing, even if we just do it in the new scenario and don't deduce from the prior. Because then we'll,
The entirety of the building, not just the addition?
correct. He says the addition needs 6, but we need some reference on what the grant spaces we granted. You know what I'm saying? Because they keep the grant, like if they sell the building, then they'll have, let's say, it's a 52 grant, 52 variance. Like, let's say they ask to build a 3-story there. They come in with a 52 variance and ask for the new. Yeah, so we should have a record of what grant is then, don't you think?
So we're gonna hold it.
No, 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 just, I would, just saying, so in the opinion, you could say they're required to have X, they have.
Do a draft if you guys would prefer.
Okay, I'm just saying in the grant, get the numbers in there so we have,
We can go through the history based on this property, they did this, got this.
it doesn't even have to be that if you want. Just something so later when this property is looked at, we know what the grant is.
So we're gonna do a draft, we're not gonna do anything on secret, we'll do it all at once. And we are going to hold the last 4 cases,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. set it on the record that we're gonna review the minutes, et cetera, and ask council to come up with a grant. I didn't say grant or deny.
And did anybody say anything? Did little Dominic say anything?
I'm not sure, will they let my car
Mini
in there?
Dominic?
Me, no. His father was a nice guy.
Well, they weren't stopping
So
people,
stop.
right?
The kids, yeah, they're nice guys.
Okay, I'll see that.
That doesn't mean a thing.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right,
they're
I'll see you in a little
knowledgeable.
bit.
They're effective and knowledgeable, but,
Thank you, I
No,
appreciate it.
he made no comments like, hurry up and don't do it, or
who did?
Dominic.
Well, he didn't ask for an approval
No.
on behalf
I
of
don't
his
think so,
client?
did he?
He said that he asked you to look favorably on that case.
Oh, that's, okay. All right?
We
Wanna
have
ma-
to revisit a couple of things on,
Go ahead, reserve.
Don't we have to come out with it?
you wanted to see the fence on,
Oh, we reserved it? Good. Oh, so you don't, but then you have to go on record.
Why can I not find that? Oh, this is the one. Now, Joe's gonna inspect that one, right? This one? 110 St. Francis?
it was already inspected.
Because he said he didn't inspect it because it got crossed off.
That was
the
just,
building
this is an old
department.
note.
Right.
That was an old note, so like, all of this is old. That's why it was crossed off, so we have to see it.
So this is the fence, okay, hold on.
There's also, if you want to.
Maintain forward of the dwelling on St. Francis Street and Bennett, and in the clear sight triangle.
It's a short fence. I think
That's a
it's,
6-foot fence, dropping there to
Yeah.
5, from
But
6 to 5.
it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and it's, so here is,
Yeah, it's already been highlighted, the portion that's in front of us.
because the house is there, you're right. So their position is that that piece is 4 feet.
Granted, it's not solid, so
But wait, how is that not before us?
that is. Because it's still forward of the
No,
dwelling.
no, no. See, wait, the dwelling's here. We're looking at forward of the garage.
Which also is forward of the dwelling.
No, I mean, see, right here, this part's not forward of the dwelling.
Correct, it's up to the house line.
So it's only this piece. But it's definitely more than this. Look, so it's this portion here.
Correct, it's, this portion is forward of the dwelling.
Correct. And they claim that's 4 feet, but
It looks like it drops.
I think both of these pieces are forward.
Put your microphone on.
We should vote on that and discuss it while we're all here?
Well, John and I,
No, I know, but
Oh,
my point
okay,
is, there's
well,
there's
we're-
only five of us here, so.
okay.
we could do
Christina, what do you think about this? Driveway on both sides.
Makes sense. Okay.
Granted. I think we should make them cut that section off.
That hold on is for me, us?
Because it's, even though it's 4 feet, it's solid.
Okay.
I think we should make them cut that piece off, that one section. Because the visibility would be great.
Do you have any independent recollection? The only reason why that note would have been crossed off would be that it's already done.
I'll take a look at it again. Can I have this even though it has a dot?
No, I'll give you a different.
I'll give it,
I feel
I'll
like,
give it 20
look
bucks.
at, I feel like cutting off that one piece.
Okay.
Because there's 2 driveways.
I'll take a look.
They're, yeah, redoing the entirety of the house.
Here, you want these two? You want that? No, give me that. Oh, that's a dot. I didn't know it was a dot.
Because they moved off of this. So that's a trust me.
No, I don't just
I got it, I have a $50 bill. I'll give you 50 bucks.
No, don't, let's leave it a dot.
I trust nobody.
What else on
You want to say?
What else do you want to do?
That was the last, do you have anything else, Pat? On
currently now, exclusive limit of which is talked about. We're currently encountering a significant obstacle. Real property located at 760 Lakeside Drive, Baldwin. This house has open permits that have remained unresolved. So
I go past that location on a regular basis. You know, it takes me a little while to get onto Ocean Avenue, but I'm careful. I do not think that 4 houses, whatever it is going to impact that area adversely. I really don't believe it, okay? I'm the only one except for John Regano that goes by there on a regular basis. Maybe John, you know, John can't speak about it, so I won't ask him. But my point is, why can't we just move this forward? I don't understand why. That's my opinion.
I pass by there not as often as John, but traffic there is a nightmare also. And I agree that 4 houses is not going to change the situation at all. This is the first we've heard the case because we're new here, you know, and to me, we should vote on it now.
Yeah, I would like to vote on it. Yeah, all right, no, I'll speak to council. Okay.
it seems like you two
You-
are in
you wanna
favor of
vote.
the application, and you'd like to vote on it now. You don't think waiting a week is going, or 2 weeks is going to change your mind in any way, shape, or form?
It's not gonna change my mind.
And also, the way I look at it, there's only 5 of us, because 2 of the people have been recused, and we're all here. And to me, let's see what everybody thinks, and then after that, then you'll draft a decision like you always do, that always comes, and we'll look at it, and we'll see what we think, and go from there.
So
Isn't that?
instead of her drafting the decision and then voting on the decision, you want to do the vote now, pending her writing the draft decision?
No, but we're going to vote on the merits, and then she'll write the decision like we always do. Isn't that the way we always do it?
A lot of times we look
In other words, because how can you write the decision if you don't know how we're going to vote?
She gets directed to write a grant,
In,
a draft grant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, a draft grant or a draft denial.
Right.
But, basically the whole thing, the idea of the draft is that you want to get the temperature of the board correct.
All right, so,
That's why it's a draft, and then
okay, so do you basically poll everybody individually? Or do we do it collectively like now? I'm just curious. I mean, I'll do, obviously.
I thought we had a vote before you could write a draft. I don't know, because I would figure, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
So, correct me if I should.
Doing it, voting the grant for the first and then adopting the grant.
You don't know what kind of grant. If I'm understanding the way the board is meeting, is to grant the 4-part subdivision. It sounds like the
Yes.
board is swayed by the testimony of Mr. Mueller that 4 new homes are not going to generate a significant amount of traffic. Additionally, I believe it was discussed that they could be putting 7 homes here, but instead they're doing 4. What other use of the land?
The biggest thing that I found was that they put a circular drive there, that helps number 1 car from backing out and going inside. And the Nassau County Planning Commission, which is what we based our denial on, a lot of it anyway, said it's fine the way this new application is because they deferred strictly to us. In my opinion, it's a good application. If you look at the requirements of 267B, the area character, et cetera, it's not changing that. It's not going to adversely affect that. I don't think that we're putting a lot of weight on the traffic, or the public did. I don't think that that's an issue before us. That's a Nassau County issue. It's Hempstead Avenue, a Nassau County road, and does the subdivision itself adversely affect anything? No. I think that part is a good application. I think we should focus on that, and in my opinion, as an inexperienced chairperson, I think we should ask Christina to write a draft grant, and we'll adopt that.
Now my question is that something we should do in case the residents decide to file an Article 78? Is that something that protects us? I'm just curious.
That would what, John?
It doesn't necessarily.
She would write the same decision
But
anyway.
at least you have a basis for making a decision. And in an Article 78 proceeding, that is what they're going to challenge.
Hey, you want to discuss this? Come on. I think what Joe said is true. The traffic is, and we'll read it, the traffic is not in front of us. Doesn't say anywhere here, if you read all 4 of these, there's not a variance for traffic. And they're here for variances
Yes.
for the different 4 units. All right. And do any of us have any problems with the variances?
I don't.
I don't.
No, okay.
I don't.
And traffic, they're the ones who brought up all the traffic. And like Joe just said, we're not traffic, all right? Nassau County is traffic, and Nassau County has said, allow it for a local determination. Jesus Christ.
Appreciate the clarification.
One second, if you would.
motion to close the meeting.